Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? Welcome to Friday. Holy smokes. Everybody jumped in quick here. That's amazing. Thank you all very much for joining this program. Let me just double check my connection to the internet. I'm going to notice. Yeah, it's up. It's up. It's up. Good stuff. The week's done. The week's done. And the boys are back in remand and are headed back. We're not going to see them again until November 1st. That's the next scheduled court date. So I'll start with the bad news first. The judge did not review anything to do with the CC1, did not even bring a decision on whether or not they would go elect the envelope. Clearly, at the end of the day yesterday, that was the end of his intention to do anything with it until later. He did make a comment yesterday that, well, first the Crown said you could review this application at the end of the trial. Jerk. The judge says the latest he'll review it is at the beginning of the trial, which is the end of May 2024. He did indicate he can review it sooner and have his decision sooner. I am very disappointed that that's how the system worked. All the testimony I heard, he absolutely should have been curious enough to open that envelope and do something with that, because it can mean the freedom of the men. It can. That's what the arguments were. I'm also pretty disappointed that I don't know if the judge allowed it. It is the way it is. But there were definitely games played by the prosecutor to delay. During this week, the Crown, absolutely. We lost at least a day and a half, maybe 2 full days out of the 4 days that were scheduled for the CC1 application. So if he didn't do that, we might have been able to get to it this week. So clearly, the strategy is to keep them in as long as they can. Hopefully, I think they hopefully are trying to break these men, because I'm sure there's going to be another deal offered to them at the end of today or sometime soon, because they're looking at till November 1st. God, this is really frustrating. Gosh, I do think that the society has some tweaking to do when it comes to this legal system. The common complaints around the courtroom is exactly that. And there is even some people getting frustrated, like right frustrated, that, here we are interviewing a witness who has nothing to do with the CC1 application. It's just continuing the trial. Or not even the trial. I want to be clear about that. This is still pre-trial motions. In fact, we were there on an application for disclosure, because this entire thing that we were doing with the application for disclosure is because the defense found information missing. So they now have to show the court that there's stuff missing and force them to disclosure. And yeah, I was quite frustrated. The one person who knows everything about this, though, is definitely Danielle. It's definitely Danielle. She has this figured out. She really does. In fact, that reminded me, I didn't send the link to Granny. So Granny Danielle, if you're watching, I'm so sorry. It's been super hectic on this side. I didn't send you the link. That wasn't intentional. But I did manage to grab Mocha. So Mocha is going to give us an interview today. And if you don't know who he is, you're definitely going to enjoy this interview. He came down from Calgary to go ahead and do some filming and interviews and stuff like that. And he's also put up, I think, 2 videos now, Mocha. I know you have day 1 video. You put a second one? Multiple. We'll correct the record in a moment with Mocha directly here. I'm going to put him on a witness stand, and we're going to get this done. People said they love this upside down justice. That's going to stay. I don't know who brought the sign. So if you're watching, dude, you've contributed to the set, because justice has been turned upside down this week, and I'm pretty disappointed in it. I don't know what was wrong with me at the beginning of the week, because I really had a lot of hope that the system really wanted to find out what's going on here. After the arguments and after the delays, I'm not sure what's going on here. I do have some ideas of what we can do, because citizens themselves can file paperwork to move things along, injunctions, emergency stuff. Like, I don't know. We're sitting and talk to a gentleman tomorrow. Can't get you the details yet, but I'm sitting down with a pretty powerful person when it comes to the government to get some advice on what we can do. And so may have some more information for you on Monday on that one. But we're not giving up. November 1st is the next court date, but that may not be the first time or the next time that we can actually do something. So a little bit more than fundraising, but maybe we need to get some citizen group together, get an organization together, because this is one of the ways to file documents for somebody else is through a citizen group. So it might be something we're going to take a look at. I'm going to quickly run through today, because I was actually pretty interested. We've learned some stuff today. This was an interview with Officer Chief Superintendent Kevin Coutts. I'm horrible with names. You guys know that. You love me anyways. So he was on the stand today. But today started off, interestingly enough, with Stephen Johnson there. Okay. So a lot of us were surprised that Stephen Johnson was there. I had to clarify why he was there. So the recusal was for the CC1 application arguments only. It wasn't for the entire case. It was for just the CC1 application because he is the subject of that CC1 application. So what we got out of the information from the court previously, that he was gone, was correct for the CC1 application, but it's not taken off of the entire case yet. The results of the CC1 application could be very damning for his career because it is talking about crime fraud, which is a crime. But at this stage, because there's no decision on that CC1 application, he stays. So we were surprised to see him there, but I had to go and clarify it just to make sure that we were not seeing something that wasn't supposed to be there. But no, he was recused for the CC1 application, and for now, he is still the lead crown on this. But the judge was getting frustrated. The judge wants to get to it. He made a comment at the beginning. He would like to get to business quickly because the crown was acting confused. He was up there talking about stuff, acting all confused. The judge shut him down and said, we want to get to this. And then we went straight into the witness. I'm tweeting all of this stuff. So if you want the detailed stuff, it's coming out of my tweets. I haven't finished them all because, again, they took away our phones, so I couldn't even do stuff during breaks. I got my phone back at lunch, quickly did some, had to give my phone back to them. Got it back at the end of the day, quickly came back here, set up the stream, and started typing away on my notes. So there's going to be some more tweets that come out for the rest of this. But one of the big things that I found was the dates are not very cool here. So what's going on is early, the February 9th and February 10th, we had dates where they're starting to talk about this conspiracy to commit murder stuff. So when we heard from the RCMP, they were talking as if it was sudden, big, and intimate. So they had to move very quickly. They even moved without warrants because everything was intimate. But it turns out they've been looking at this narrative since January 9th, 10th. We also found that the cache of guns were first reported, according to the police, from a religious group. I didn't quite get the name of that religious group, but sure enough, they were mentioning a religious group and not Diagolon. So the police early in this operation wasn't focused on Diagolon at all. That came later. The RCMP, the press conference, was alluding to it. So that was on February 14th. And then, of course, in the POEC, there's a complete connection to it because that's why they brought Jeremy McKenzie out there. So February 9th, 10th, they weren't talking about Diagolon or cache guns from that. They were talking about a religious group, Norwegian something. I didn't catch the name. Maybe someone in the chat knows what that one was. But Dutch Reformed, Netherlands Dutch Reformed Church. Yeah, or look at that. The chat, live chat gave it to me. The Netherlands Dutch Reformed Church. So this is what the police early, RCMP, said. They had the cache of guns. Now, as we go through the notes, they were searching semi-trucks, 2 of them, looking for guns. And then they set up this big raid on the trailer on the 14th. But before I get there, the RCMP did admit to disabling the excavators. So during the testimony today, they did admit to it, and it was the emergency response team who took care of that stuff. So lovely there. And as we go through, it was asking who gave them the advice and whether or not there was legal advice to do that. There was an objection from the Crown because anytime a legal advice comes up, he gets jumpy. And he was jumpy on this one. So the witness went outside. The Crown started talking about whether or not the legal advice was for civil. And he goes, I believe they would get legal advice civilly, but not from us. Then the judge thought it was a valid question. Witness comes back in. He asked him, and no, they did not have any legal advice when they were dealing with that excavator situation. I think what the defense was trying to do was find out whether or not the Crown told them to do it. But it turns out nobody gave him any advice on that one, which is not a good idea. A whole bunch of the conversations are not recorded and they are verbal. So a lot of the orders that he was receiving were verbal or in person, which is difficult because we don't really have records of that. And as we move along here, let me see where we go. The concession. Oh yeah, we were dealing with privilege again. Yeah, so that we were trying to bring, or the defense was trying to bring up something from the paragraph that was told to be not privileged anymore. This is something that came out earlier in the week. So they referred to it, but Stephen objected. The judge said it was a valid question. How the guy came back in and answered it. And it was, let me just see here. Actually, we didn't get an answer to that. So the judge said we will examine this after the cross exam. So there was an objection on whether or not they can bring in the information from that paragraph. The Crown was challenging it, even though they're the ones that said there's no privilege tied to this before. Then he argued that he kind of not sure yet anymore. So now that decision's been put off. So we don't even know how that's going to resolve yet. Then there was definitely going a bunch of semi-trucks looking for guns. By February 13th, they were still searching semi-trucks, not trailers, and I don't believe they found any guns. At 7 in the morning, they were detailing security. Okay, so there was a conversation about how they were going to deal with this. Are they going to go after the security details, which, as we learn now, are the trailers that had Chris Carbert in it, or go after the leaders? So we actually found out that here we go. So they decided that the leadership group who they were going to arrest, they didn't give any last names, but we just got the first names, was Marco, George, Peter, and Alex. So that was the leadership team that they identified, and they arrested. So at one point, they arrested that leadership team. The witness said correct. But then later, 2 of them got released. We'll get to that in a second. They were working with the bronze team to remove vehicles. Let me just quickly go through here. Yeah, after a while, it was George and Marco who were released. For some reason, the police decided, after arresting these 2 gentlemen, that in order to help calm the crowd, they released those 2. I didn't see anything about the other 2 being released, though. So I'm presuming that they were still charged at this point. Anybody catch that?
They weren't arrested.
Who wasn't arrested?
None of them.
Oh, that's what they said.
Not
Not there?
They arrested 3 of them in September. They were just
Oh.
referred to as the.
But they were talking about arresting it then. Okay, so they were talking about arresting them, and then they decided not to. So we'll clarify that. So check my live fact checkers here. They made sure we got it right. So they were talking about arresting Marco, George, Peter, and Alex. Hold on. That doesn't sound right. Peter's right, and Alex. Okay, yeah. So they were talking about arresting them, and then they didn't. Another piece that I found interesting. Yes, so when they went to go to the trailers, they came pretty heavily armed because they were told there were hundreds of guns and thousands of ammunition there. After the arrest, as we know, there were 6 guns. 6, not hundreds. And that's basically all the highlights right now. Oh, and there's a lie. There's a lie. So we can prove this with a video. So Chris Lysak was recording when he was arrested. And the notes to the police were that he said, those are sexy guns. I want to take one. Now, if you watch the video, it actually says, those are sexy guns. I wish I had one. So somebody misinterpreted his answers or his comment and went ahead and arrested him on that one. But that's what they wrote down. These are sexy guns. I want to take one. But that's not what it actually said in the video. They located Tony and arrested him. We knew that. Let's see what else we got here. That's about it. February 14th, Monday, they arrested Chris. Found a small cache of guns. And here we go. Site strategic arrest on Marco and George. Sites tracked. So they were talking about, again, arresting Marco and George to move the tractors, but they never did arrest them. And that's about it for now. So keep an eye on my Twitter because I'll have finer details of the notes today, and you'll get all of them on my Twitter. But the highlight here is justice is upside down. These guys are waiting till November now to have another crack at this, unless somebody can get an application in and we can get an earlier court date. I did understand, though, that something I'm not happy with is they keep pushing for this Lethbridge court, which is very busy. But I understand that they have other options for different courts, and there's another one that isn't so busy. Maybe we'll look into having them move that. The same judge, same everybody else, so they don't have to restart anything. But there'll be more availability in the other court. We'll look into that. Okay, folks. Now, for some good stuff, we have this gentleman named Mocha. He's been hanging around this week. He's been filming some stuff. He put out several videos, and he's an awesome guy. Doing interviews with everybody, trying to talk to everybody, and trying to bring the details. So let me go ahead and bring him in. Hey, Mocha, let's check out this audio.
Hello.
Oh, you're very quiet. You're very
Thank
soft.
you for the kind introduction.
Okay, well, we're going to try and turn you up a bit because you're very soft. Okay, go ahead and try again.
Hello, 1, 2, 3.
You're very soft. You're very soft,
Okay.
but I think we can continue.
How
wanna
about
see it?
now?
Slightly better. Slightly
Okay,
better.
All right. Let me fix this.
Okay, you go ahead.
There's
I'll
a
just
way to
pause you
fix
for
it,
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think you're coming through that microphone that you think you're going through. That might be it.
Is it better?
Okay, try again.
Hello. 1, 2,
You're
3.
just soft.
Oh no.
Yeah. Hit me in the chat. Can you hear him? Hi, Mocha. Speak up. You're among
Hello,
friends.
1, 2, 3, 4. Can you guys hear me? I'm so sorry about this technical malfunction. It's very embarrassing.
Don't be embarrassed. Yeah, we're getting mics not working. Do you want to try another one? I got a couple of.
Okay, how about this?
Or try and change to your phone.
How about this? Let me see.
Yeah, we'll get you.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yes. Okay. All right, great. Sorry about that, everyone. We're back.
Yeah, we're good. We're
so
good.
back.
I'll just make sure I don't pick up my. Yeah, you have to leave the room.
Okay, I will.
Yeah, just pop up on the outside. You'll be fine. Yeah, there we go. Because his microphone is now so good, it's picking me up. So he'll just go out just on the other side of the wall, and it will be okay. And there he goes. There he goes. Thank you, Mocha. So this will be difficult because how are you guys going to hear him now? We're trying to avoid echoing like we did yesterday, and that the problem from yesterday was to show the video to all these people. I'm sorry. Yeah, maybe pull your phones up and watch it online. Then you'll get the audio that way, if you guys don't mind. Give us a lot more views. We'll watch the view count go up. But or you can just have one phone back there that you listen to. That might work. I apologize to the live studio audience, but we will get this. Okay, Mocha, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you just fine. That's much better. All right, Mocha, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell everybody who you are and what you're doing down here.
Well, hi, everyone. My name is Mocha Bezirgan. I am the founder of MediaBezirgan.com, and I'm an independent journalist, filmmaker, reporter, video editor, videographer. I basically run the whole show, and I've been covering news all across Canada, all across, Toronto, Calgary, Edmonton, Westlock. I've been all over the place. Winnipeg, Ottawa. I've been covering stories all over the place, and yeah.
Well, here's my question to you, Mocha. How many people are in your team? 30, 40, 50? Because you produce videos so fast and they're excellent. So you have a huge team behind you, right?
No, I don't. It's just me. And
what?
Sometimes, yeah. Look, I'm an experienced video editor, videographer, filmmaker. So
no kidding.
I've been doing this for years. So I just go very fast. I'm very good with computer, and that's
Can you make
why
that sound again? Yeah.
Like a machine. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And I was here at Coutts 2 years ago when the blockade was happening. I drove straight from Ottawa down to Coutts, and I covered the stories there. At the time, I was with Rebel News, and then I became familiarized with what was going on in Coutts. And so this story was, I kept following it. There was a convoy in January, I believe, in support of these 4 men, and I provided coverage for that to the counter signal at the time. And now the court case is happening, so I decided that I would come down on Monday and give some coverage. Now, of course, economy is not great these days, especially for independent reporters, and
Tell me about it, brother.
Originally planned I would only be able to come down for Monday, and I came down for Monday. I did some coverage, and someone donated me some money to cover the gas. So I was able to come back to Tuesday. And I did some good work. I interviewed people. I interviewed a politician, in fact, in Calgary about what's happening in Coutts. I posted it all on my Twitter. People can watch it. And the main video I did was a montage of interviews from previous days about the Coutts Forum. And what I aimed to do was that I wanted to create a video that explains everything, but the first 2 minutes is very important in a video. First 10 seconds even very important, because people have very low attention span. So I decided to create a montage with music, with fast clips to keep it entertaining, keep it engaging, so that it captures people's attention, because people need to pay attention to this story. And I wasn't able to show up for Wednesday and Thursday, obviously, but some very nice people offered to cover my gas, so I was able to come here, so thank you very much. And
You're
I was
welcome.
able to provide coverage on Friday. And when I first thought about this story and how I would cover it, I thought, well, first of all, there are many publication bans. And second of all, will anyone care about this story if I were to come here and cover it? Would it be worth the expense? But when I came down here and I realized how much people really cared, because I got hundreds and hundreds of new followers, likes, retweets, people really were paying attention and really thanking me for being here and doing what I'm doing. So I realized that no, there is a vacuum here. There is a lack of media attention. Today we were in the courthouse. Did you see any accredited media in there? Any mainstream media? Anyone?
Two full rows empty.
Yeah. So I decided that it's a good idea to fill that void and provide independent, impartial news coverage, and that's what I've been trying to do. I'm a good listener. I don't recap the story and tell from my point of view or whatever. I try to let the people speak and let them tell their story, and I basically edit that video to make it consumable for the general public, and to keep it interesting and engaging, to capture people's attention. And basically, people that I interview, they say they think that these 4 men are political prisoners. Now, that automatically attracts me to the story, and it would attract any Canadian. The fact that they've been behind bars for more than 531 days, without bail, without a guilty verdict, and they're going to remain behind bars another 100 days, an unknown amount of time, that's third world stuff. That doesn't suit Canada.
Banana
so
Republic.
That's the coverage that I'm interested in, yeah.
Yeah, and you've been doing a great job, by the way, so I'm very happy that you're here. Now, first, some chats came up. How can people donate to you? They've already asked. Can they e-transfer you? Like, how can they send money to you?
Well, my website, mediabezirgan.com/donate. You could donate to me through that website, or you could reach out to me. Basically, it's not just this story that I've been covering, that I've been working on. Media Bezirgan, this project of an independent, impartial media project that converts stories and makes it consumable for the general public to spread attention, bring awareness. And I've been successful with that. I brought lots of attention to, like, for example, Justin Trudeau talking down to Muslim parents. I was the one to blow that clip up, and I've been covering many stories. And so far I've been doing it out of pocket, and in the background I'm fighting dragons.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you'll keep those dragons secret for now because you don't need any more headaches. But I understand what you're dealing with. I have similar weirdness as well.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't need to go all public with that. All we can say is life as an independent media journalist is difficult. It's difficult. And there's definitely dragons out there that don't want you to do it. But look, you came down and you're covering. So when can we expect the next video to come up?
Well, today I got some interviews, and I published my interviews and my stand-up on Twitter already.
Stand-up? Do you say stand-up?
Oh, stand-up, I mean, by that, it's a term that we use for production purposes. Like, stand-up means the journalist stands up and says his part.
Okay, I thought you were comedy all of a sudden. I'm like, cool,
Yeah,
let's do some of that.
basis, yeah. But I want to put together a final video about the last week, what's been happening, to recap and make it consumable for everyone, for the general population, because they just don't follow all the details. They just very short attention span. So that's what I'm going to do. Hopefully I'll publish it by tomorrow or the next day. The fact is I'm moving out of my current place tomorrow, so it's some busy time.
You're juggling.
I'm a fast video editor, so.
Yeah, we know that because you put up the first day like while we're still in court almost. It came
because
out right
because
away.
I'm very competitive in nature, and I thought to myself, first of all, nobody's gonna do this, and why don't I? And this is a trade secret I'm giving away. It's my secret.
Just between you and me, and
yeah, exactly. So the news, the background of the news, what these 4 guys are about, what they've been through, all this stuff are already available. So I don't need to wait until the court day happening and then trying to do a story. No,
right.
I'm going to do the story with the available information and get the video ready, and then I'm going to add the new information, and I'm going to get that video out the same day, the same hour. So all the other, all my competitors, I'm calling out to you, you got to adopt that way of news reporting, because relevancy is important.
Yes.
So.
Hey, I'm going to take some notes from you. Like, I'm a live streamer and you do documentaries. I think that's a good combination because we can cover different segments and attention spans and all that kind of stuff. Would you want to stick around and help us out over the next, sounds like a year, as we're dealing with all this?
I absolutely would follow up with this story and cover it and bring impartial, balanced journalism. That's what I do. That's what I love doing. And I won't let this story go unnoticed. You know what I mean? Because today there was no media in there other than us.
Yeah, so it's kind of left on us, isn't it, there, Mocha?
Mm-hmm. And there is public attention. There is enough public attention. So why is the media not there?
That's a wonderful question, right? So we went through the publication ban. We know what we can and can't talk about. Just to clarify for everybody, there's a defense publication ban put in place very early that covered the information to obtain, ITOs, and the contents of them. We don't even touch them. We just want to stay away from them because not all of it is banned, but enough of it that we just stay away from them. So we don't talk about the ITOs, we don't display the ITOs, and we don't discuss any of the contents of it. The new one that got put in place by the Crown is on the CC1 application, which is the application against Stephen Johnston and the allegations of crime fraud. But that's the extent of what we can talk about that one, because the contents of that envelope is under a ban, and the decision, if it comes in the future, will be under a ban. I'm going to start calling this a truth ban there, Mocha, because this is exactly what the judge did there, is he created a truth ban. Because you can go ahead and report lies all day long and you're not in trouble. You can make up stuff all day long. You won't be in trouble. So we don't have a way to defend against that, because if we try to, it would be with the truth, and that truth will get us into trouble. So this is why I'm calling this a truth ban. And I think it's ridiculous that the Crown put a truth ban in place on something that they did. Now, what I found interesting during their arguments for this, Mocha, is the judge reminded them, because not too long ago, it was the Crown who was opposing the publication ban from the defense. So the judge was reminding the Crown, look, when you opposed the publication ban for the defense, you said we could just craft questions for the jury and filter out people who have the opinion of whatever it was the Crown wanted to put out there as information, which, as we know, was this huge narrative. So they now took the other side and said, no, we need to ban. People are not able to just go through, hit the information and understand what's true or not. It will taint the jury. So they really took two sides of the same argument there. Unfortunately, I think the judge isn't aware of the danger of mis, dis, and malinformation, because if he really thought about it, he should have allowed people like you and I to go online and correct that information. So now what he's created, wittingly or not, is a jury pool who will be full of misinformation, because nobody can tell him the correct information. So his attempt to protect the jury, I think, backfires, because now the jury is only going to be exposed to stuff that's mis, dis, or malinformation. And you and I and others who care enough can't correct it, because as soon as we do that, we are in trouble. So this is a truth ban. What do you think about that, Mocha, the way I put it?
Yeah, that is concerning, But I believe, and tell me if this is not a reasonable belief. I believe that the truth will come out sooner or later, eventually. And when it comes out, first of all, these people who are spreading disinformation and misinformation, they're just talking. It's just words on a screen. But the truth is exciting. The truth is interesting. What people go through for truth. Who's gonna go through um, such difficulties like for misinformation and disinformation? No, people go difficulties for the truth, and that's why truth is interesting, and that's why when the truth comes out, I think a proper documentary, an engaging one, an entertaining one, an informative one that will capture many hundreds of thousands of Canadians' attention is warranted. What do you think of that?
I think you're young. That's what I think, because there's many ways that truth won't come out. One way, they break and take a deal.
Mm-hmm.
That's one way. Another way is the Jordan decision. So they run out the clock for 30 months. The guys will be released, but the truth still doesn't come out.
Mm-hmm. Well,
So
you
those are
just
two
ripped
big
apart
ways.
my wings, so.
No, I'm not, but I'm because you're young. You have to learn this because this is absolutely something that happens. So the Crown could run out the clock for 30 months. So August 2024, the guys are set free, but their truth is never told in the court. That's a reality that can happen. They can take a deal because they're absolutely done trying to wait. Therefore, their truth doesn't come out. In fact, we get something different. We get their lie as a confession. Because that happens. Innocent people to get out will say whatever to get out. So those are two examples. And then the last one would be the trial itself. There's more bans put in place around some of the information, and maybe we can't get the truth. But either Mocha's meditating or his thing froze. So hopefully he's going to come back soon. Or maybe he's meditating. But yeah, those are a couple ways that the truth won't come out. And we're hoping that that's not what happens at all. Mocha, I think we lost you, bud. Okay, so I'm just going to drop him for a bit. We'll chat for a bit more. So somebody maybe check on him, see if he's okay? I don't know if he knows he's frozen yet. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Yeah, do you want to just come here? Maybe we'll just chat here. Yeah, just grab a chair. We'll just chat here. There, we'll make things work.
Wow.
Oh, you got your phone on now. We're going to get an echo. There we go. Independent media coming together to give a story.
Well,
you may have to come closer.
You're right. The truth may never come out. You convinced me, unfortunately.
May
Never. But there's a different truth that comes out, or not comes out, but further manifests itself. And that is the conditions that we're facing under this government and how the state operates and how it punishes some people to get all of us rest in line.
Right.
Yeah, and we've lived through what we lived through during COVID-19, and we saw how governments imposed their will on us and violated our rights. That's the nature of the government. That's what we're facing. And the more we understand that, I think the more we will be capable and brave. And
I can see in your eyes, this hurts you. Like your heart is hurting right now.
yeah, because, my background, my family in Turkey, etc., we've been through a lot with governments, and, political stuff. And, I see that these 4 men are behind bars because of political reasons. And there is no excuse, I don't think, for 500 days without conviction and now 100 more days. I mean, I was in the courthouse today. It's time wasting. It's wasting time. Like, families are devastated. People expecting some results. Those guys, they were looking forward to these days, this day, thinking that finally something will result. And it seems far away. And it's not right that they are being behind bars without a conviction for this long. Something needs to happen. People need to pay attention.
They have to pay a lot of attention. And to the people who were there all week, Mocha this morning started off horrible. So 4 days in a row, Chris Lysak and all of them came out with big smiles on their face, big smiles. Not today. Today walked out and you can tell they were hurt. They were hurt. No smile on Chris Lysak. Chris Lysak has the biggest smile. He's a large man. He had a huge smile. Not today. Did you guys notice that? Yeah. Yeah. So that was how we set the tone at the beginning. And then we didn't address the CC one at all. We have no idea when that decision is going to come. And we believe still that that decision is going to be freeing them. So we're very hurt by that. Let me ask you a question. How many political prisoners do you think there are in Canada right now?
Probably a dozen, maybe.
That would be a good day. It's over 50. There's 30 alone from the Windsor border crossing.
Wow, there are people jailed for that?
We define a political prisoner who's been attacked by the government, charged, jailed, or confessed, or took a deal, but they were innocent to begin with.
Under that definition, then there are many people, yeah.
So we got to do something about that, Mocha. We got to bring attention to that too, because coast to coast, even Jeremy McKenzie's technically political prisoner. He's got home rest. He can't go out. He needs
Kalbaski as well. He's also a political prisoner. He's still under house arrest.
exactly. So under that definition, we've got over 50.
So those people who stood out against the government in one way or another, but mainly for COVID-19 reasons, the restrictions are over for rest of us. But these people, it's not different. They're still paying the price and suffering the consequences. Yeah.
So do you like traveling? Because we may have to get you to Nova Scotia all the way across this country to go see them.
Of course, I like traveling. I've been traveling a lot. I've been everywhere covering news, you know. Of course, I would go down there and interview people and bring bring balanced, impartial journalism as I have been doing. So, yeah.
Absolutely. So if you're a subscriber of alt media and that kind of stuff, maybe consider subscribing or donating to Mocha instead, because we need to get this guy to go and capture all these stories. We need to break this out fast, because these people, there are people behind bars like our four who have not been out for 530 days. There's other people who took deals and their life are ruined now. They just found out that a conviction means like no work, no nothing. We need to help these people. And we even have one who's facing sentencing on the 9th. So that's Arthur Pelosi. We have James Sowery, who's facing sentencing as well. We got to figure out ways to do appeals and other things. So yeah, Mocha, I'm going to encourage people to go to your website right now, the /donate one, and help us out. Let's go put some money in his account so that we can continue to do stuff like this with him. Look, this is not like one of those alt medias. This is independent media. Okay, and that means it goes directly to the independent media.
Right. And I don't have big operational costs. I don't have many staff or many lawsuits or whatever. I'm one guy. I do everything by myself. Just a little bit of money to cover my expenses and my livelihood, which is very basic. That's enough for me, and I'll keep doing what I'm doing. I drove to Saskatoon to cover a story from Calgary, 6 hours and back same day. I did that. I went to Winnipeg, Winkler, to cover the by-election there. I am doing the work. I am out there as much as I can. But imagine what I'll be able to do with your support.
Okay, well, I'm definitely going to support him. And he reached out to me for this article or for this event. I didn't reach out to him. He reached out to me. He popped into my Twitter and said, hey, you seem to know what you're doing and you know what's going on. Go ahead and tell me.
Because you were the one talking about it the most. And Granny and Daniel, and I decided that it would be good if I were to interview people who know what's going on. And I was privileged and lucky enough to interview one of the parents of the four. And that's very important because people need to hear from the parents, from friends, from family. That's the only way to emotionally connect people to this story. Right now, who's watching us? The people who already know about this story, the people who are already interested in the story. We need to reach and break barriers and reach to the general public, the people who don't know about it, the people who only saw the picture of guns on CBC, but they don't know the background of the story. The story is deep. The story needs coverage. And the people I spoke to, my takeaway from this whole week, I mean, I was here Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. My takeaway is that people just want justice. On Monday, the judge didn't give a favorable decision for the four, but people said, you know what? At least the judge did his job. He was impartial. He actually listened. He actually went through, he did it by the books. So people, I talk to people, they say they want justice. So is that something too much to ask? Who could disagree with that in Canada? Who could say no, they shouldn't get justice? I don't.
I can answer that question again. Sorry, you're young. So our current leadership does not believe in that. There's a whole bunch of people who don't believe in justice. And I would even say our Conservative Party, who would provide us justice through proper opposition to the current government, is also not doing that. We have a third party, the NDP, who is also supposed to oppose the government. They're not doing that. So to answer your honest question, there's a lot of people in Canada who don't want justice because this is how we got here. This is why this is happening. So I hate to keep bursting your bubbles, but yeah, there is a lot of people who don't have or want justice for us.
But the way you control a politician is you create public demand. That's what they have to cave into. And we can't start petitions and all this and that to politicians. They're not going to pay attention if they think that it's not going to win them the votes next election. So,
Well, then what do you think we do need to do? Some more pressure on the politicians, like write to them or get in the street and yell, or what are you thinking?
I think we need to tell the story and reach to the public, to everyone as much as possible, maximize that reach. So everyone knows, the person in Toronto knows, the immigrant in Vancouver knows, everyone knows like what's going on. What is this about? And then there will be some change, I believe, because that's what I'm doing. That's what I believe. So yeah, change the public opinion.
Now, a good way to change the opinion, of course, is through media and education. But we're also fighting against the established media and then the secondary established media. So we're actually fighting two big dragons here, aren't we? Like the government-funded one, and then the other one that has their own ambitions and desires, which don't align with ours because, well, they weren't there. It's simply all we have to point to is 2 days out of 5, they had some representation there. And you weren't there when I asked the judge for permission to go ahead and do that, and I got denied. And then when the publication ban was being discussed, I opposed it. So I made myself known to the court, and I went up and actually opposed it. I was trying to get the public to be aware of it. And even earlier in the day, the judge said justice needs to be seen, because at one point he was he was upset with us because we were clapping and saying we love you to the men when they came out. So the judge came out and told us, you're not to do that, or I'll have you guys removed. But I would prefer I didn't do that because justice is to be seen. So I used that line during that part. I used the same line on him like 30 minutes later. It didn't seem to sway him because he went ahead and put that ban in. So how do you feel about truth bans being put in place? How do you feel about that?
Well, it feels very old school of that judge because, there are many court proceedings happening in the United States and it's very televised. For example, Derek Brooks, I think his name was. His entire conviction, his entire court process was televised, and people all, yes, there was jury by then, but I don't really buy this excuse of, we don't want the jury to be influenced, because as you say, disinformation and misinformation is being allowed out there. Yeah, with social media and, the court system is not keeping up. I mean, the simple fact that it's been so many days and there are so many months in between of proceedings, that's not satisfying, because denying justice in a timely not providing justice in a timely manner is denying justice.
100%. And I went through the Alberta laws and rules and regulations around the media in the courts and stuff like that. It's 100% written to keep people like us out. Independent journalists don't get accreditation. You can't get accreditation unless you're government approved. Even if you establish yourself, like for a year for me and all the time you've done, they don't care. They don't even look. So I think maybe one of the first things we should be doing is creating a lawsuit against the Alberta government and the justice system in order to remove those restrictions on independent media. I think if we just showed up and filled out a form and signed a little declaration that we were going to do the right things, then we should be allowed to go ahead and do it. We shouldn't have to be established with an organization that's government approved. And I think that might be one of the first steps. If Alberta maybe sets the standard for the rest of Canada, that independent journalists are journalists, and they're more than welcome to come in and cover this stuff. And if we can get that done by November, then maybe we can get some more attention on these guys. What do you think about that?
Well, I'm not a lawyer, so I can't comment on how that lawsuit would work, but surely I will support it, because I want to be there as well. I want to be accredited. I want to be able to tweet what's going on. And tell everyone what's going on. In fact, I wish there was no ban, publication ban, so that I could actually set up cameras and live stream it, but yeah, that seems to be a stretch at the moment in this current stage that our courts are at. They're not keeping up with the times.
Absolutely, but so you'll join us on that. So we'll go ahead and move forward. But as an independent journalist, you would support that endeavor.
Well, of course, I want everyone to be able to, anyone who signs a declaration, basically, to be able to report on what's going on. Because once you sign that declaration, you acknowledge that you are capable enough to understand what is under publication ban, what are you not to do, what are the rules of the court, and all this and that. So I don't see any problem. Why do you need to be in, like, who defines established anyways? Because I've been denied covering news on a public road in Westlake, Alberta, because the peace officer wanted to see my ID, and I said that's not lawful, and it was not lawful. And so yeah, they went through my website, checking what kind of news content that I publish to decide whether or not I'll be. That's not how news works. That just polarizes media further.
Yeah, so if we can fix media in Canada, I think we'll take a step further to be able to fix some of the problems. Because if we can't actually report on it and get the truth out there, what chance do we have on educating people on what's going on?
I think the way to fix media is to outcompete them. Yes.
Just like a capital market, just like any other market, the competition, the demand, the supply, this is what regulates, and the winners will win.
Because you tell me, if an independent reporter by an organization is being paid minimum wage, and how much drive is he going to really have to go to a remote location to report on news and stay in the cold car and go through all sorts of difficulties for minimum wage? I don't think so, because people who really are interested in this stuff of reporting news and bringing independent, imbalanced coverage, when I'm doing this, it's my company. I'm not being exploited. It's me, and I can decide what to put money in and what to invest in. I'm not gonna get into too much details, but I've been lucky. I a few months ago, I had a sum of money that I received through a fight that I won, and I was able to buy camera, stabilizer, tripod, microphones, all this stuff. And one of my but priorities is that the content I produce has to be high quality, because that adds legitimacy and it makes people watch. And that's the point, after all, maximize reach so everyone knows what's going on. Anyways, I've been rambling for a long time. I hope I'm making sense. Yeah, because basically I'm trying to explain what I'm operating on. And so, yeah.
Well, let me ask a bit, but what got you into this? Why did you get into journalism or media? What got you into it to begin with?
When I was 18, 17 years old, I'm actually a Turkish superstar in Turkey. I was creating short films, comedy films in Turkey on YouTube, and it got quite the attention. And, millions of young people started watching. And I was basically criticizing the government, a little bit of the current climate in the country and how the government was using propaganda to influence people. And for example, in Turkey, back in my days, if you were to wear an earring, the bus driver could call you a homophobic slur. Yeah. And that was like considered normal. And so, I would, with comedy, criticize all this and stuff. And I realized how much power I have through comedy and how much public opinion could be changed through it. And so my interest was more so in public opinion. So I got into public relations, sorta, and journalism falls under that umbrella. So that's why I wherever you put me on earth, that's what I'll be doing. Yeah.
So it's in you to do this for sure. You're like born for this. I can see that through the videos you actually make. There's a huge talent there.
I'm very appreciative that you're able to recognize and see that. So thank you.
Are you joking? Just watch 5 minutes of your video and you'll see it all completely. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're also very humble, and it's very cool. By the way, people were asking, how have you been doing this for years? Because you do not look old.
I'm 23. I'm turning 24 in a couple of days. I've been doing it since I was 17. once you give into, I don't know, I just enjoy it. So I keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it, and I try to do some side jobs, whatever, to keep doing it. But I'm not going anywhere. I'm not disappearing from the scene. We'll be back here for the next court hearing, and I'll be here to cover it.
What we might be able to do is arrange a day where I come down to visit the men, maybe get you in there to visit the men, spend some time with them, and then we could go outside and talk about it or something like that. Maybe sit with some family, come around, because we don't have to wait till November to come back down and talk to people. So I'll arrange another visit down where we're going to spend a week here, because it's very difficult to coordinate the days, and we'll have to go to Calgary and Medicine Hat to see all of them. Would you be down for that?
Of course, I would be down for that. Yeah. That's a great idea.
Yeah, so we'll figure that out. And there's also some fundraisers and some other events throughout the summer that maybe you can come check out.
Of course. I'm interested in covering that because my audience is interested in hearing that. There's public interest in this. Some people might shy away from it because they might be found guilty at the end, or they might be found innocent. There's an equal chance. I don't know. But I know that people think they are political prisoners and they're interested in it. And I'm going to make sure that they get the coverage that they deserve.
Yeah, so we'll still be covering it every single day for the hour in the morning. We'll keep doing that. There's so much about this that we can talk about. We'll break down the law. We'll break out the options. We'll talk about a lot of it. But yeah, I really appreciate the fact that you are willing to, and you see that not the market, but the audience is there.
Oh yeah, of course, because again, political prisoners. That's what 500 days without conviction, without bail. That's again third world stuff, unacceptable.
And are you guys witnessing Canada media changing? This might be where it starts. These types of people that do these things. What do you think of that?
I'm humbled by that. Thank you. I'm just 23. I'm turning 24. I'm still young. And thank you.
Birthday.
July 30. Yeah, very soon.
So happy early birthday.
Yeah, thank you. And I might say something, sometimes I might say things that don't make sense, but I'm operating on what I'm trying to communicate, So check out my website, check out the videos I've been doing. You'll understand better at what I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to accomplish. Yeah.
And what other stories are you working on? So you got the Coutts stuff, but are you working on any other stories right now?
Well, there's a big story coming on September 22nd. There's going to be a protest against gender ideology in schools in Toronto. Yeah, so I'll be there to cover that. Josh Alexander, yeah. Yeah, and Josh Alexander, I was the one brought that exclusive interview where he announced that his parents have been terminated from their jobs because of his activism. And I was the only media there that day and brought that coverage from Toronto, and it blew up. Millions of people saw that, and I made sure no other independent media were to steal that, delete my logo, add their own logo. I made sure that didn't happen.
Yeah. How'd you make sure that didn't happen?
I have a lawyer.
So you learned a few things at Rebel then, didn't you?
I can't comment on.
You've learned that litigation is something you need sometimes. Cool. So are you guys interested in that video coming out in September about the gender?
Yeah.
We got our own little Michael Moore here. Like, it looks like people are going to get into your stuff. Yeah. What else is on your radar? Because that's a gender stuff for schools. You got this Coutts stuff, possibly political prisoners.
Obviously, Arthur Pawlowski's trial on August 9, so that's also on my radar. There are some scheduled protests in the prairies that I might cover if I need to look into that. But as news happens, as it happens, I will cover it. I will be there. I'll buy the cheapest ticket. If there is no plane ticket, I'll drive. I've done that before. So, yeah.
Very good. I'm impressed. I'm impressed a lot. And I don't know, are there any mothers out there with some daughters? I don't know. They're probably going to be reaching out to you now.
Thank you. I'm already taken.
Oh, right on. He's already taken. But I don't see a ring. So when is that big event happening?
Well, it takes some time, right? Yeah.
Well, you're on the Jason Levine show, so maybe she'll propose to you now. Who knows? But no, thank you very much. I think that's wonderful, and I'm absolutely looking forward to working with you a lot over the next little bit. These stories and more. We're covering the vaccine harm one out of Lethbridge, actually. This is Carrie Sakamoto, $10.5 million. Would you like to interview her and maybe do something with that?
Sure. Yes. Yes. I don't have predetermined, like, I'm not going to interview this person. I'm going to stay away from this person. I don't have that mindset. So I'm free. That's right. The story is what matters.
Well, God bless. I think you're a bit of a godsend. You came out of the blue. Here you are. You're doing wonderful work, and you did a great job. Thank you very much, Mocha.
Thank you very much. I hope I kept it entertaining and engaging. Now I'll start heading back to Calgary.
Well, don't leave so quick, but you'll be leaving soon, I'm sure. But thank you very much,
Thank
Mocha.
you so much. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you.
Well, we rolled with the punches. We had connection problems. We had echo problems. And in the end, just sit beside me and do the whole microphone thing. Well, I hope that worked out for you folks. It worked here. The crowd likes it. And yeah, go hit his website. If you got a couple bucks, give it to him on this one, because it's guys like him who's going to change Canada, because we need to change the media. If we can change the media, we can change the message. If we can change the message, we can change the minds. If we can change the minds, we can fix Canada. You see those dots? That's what we need to do. So thank you all very much. It was a long week. I'm going to pack up a studio, and we're going to have to get ourselves ready early in the morning because we have to be somewhere at 1 o'clock for some important meetings. But yeah, I'm not joking when I say I want to take some sort of lawsuit against Alberta or try and get it changed so that independent media can get in there, try and get that all settled before November so that next time around, we'll be live streaming it. That's my entire goal, is to actually bring the entire thing to you live stream. So we're going to be working on that. We're going to be bringing more awareness to the men. There will be some fundraisers throughout the summer. So stick around, get involved. And yeah, this week didn't turn out the way we hoped it would. But like Mocha said, the truth will come out. I may be jaded. He's not jaded. He can still be right. So we'll see what comes up. So thank you all very much. It's a long week. We're going to sign off now. And actually, if you stick around to Zach Schmidt podcast, I don't think he goes live, but I'll be doing an interview with him a little bit later. So you can check out that when it's released. And of course, go check out Mocha's Twitter, because he's going to be releasing stuff soon. So thank you all very much. It's been lovely. It's been a hard week. It's been a tough week, but we're here. We got to think about the men. Thank you all. Love you, and God bless.